Michelle Reynolds, our new secondary principal. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah.
How are you today, Michelle?
I'm glad to be here. So glad to be here.
Wonderful. Grateful to have you here today and grateful to have you as a part of the VCS community.
Yeah.
So, I know you know this, but our secondary program, middle and high school, is so central to our vision for our school, and our families care deeply about who is leading that program.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited. I've had the opportunity to get to know you. But I think it's special for families to have the chance to kind of get to know you and who you are as well.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're doing here today. So maybe you could just start by sharing just a little bit about yourself, some things you want to share with our families.
Yeah, so I have been a Christian my whole life. I grew up in a Christian household, so I really love Jesus. I just love him, and I love sharing him with others. And so my husband and I have been married 35 years, raised our kids in Christian school. I love Christian school. I've spent a bulk of my time serving in Christian school. I've been in education for 3 decades, 30 plus years, most of which has been in Christian school. So I'm just a proponent of it, and am excited to be here to serve the kids. And
I love it. Yeah, for people who don't know your background, I hope that's an encouragement to them, right? Because when we started to get to know each other a little bit, your background with leadership and education was just something that really kind of jumped out to me.
Yeah.
Your experience, and then getting to know you, your expertise. And I think the more families get to know you, they'll learn that you are, I think, in a very unique way, able to take that background, all that skill, all that experience, and to be able to really help move our middle and high school program forward in big special ways. And so very excited about that. And for families who don't know, your most recent experience as well was in a private school. And there was a lot of, one of the things that I talk about often is critical thinking skills. And the importance of critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
And so maybe you can share a little bit with families about that program, your academic program that you designed, some changes you brought. And I love that story. Maybe you can share a little bit more about it.
So as I shared, most of my experience has been in Christian ed. So I've 25 of my 30 years have been in Christian education. So I decided God called me to venture out, I took on a 5-year contract, and I'm a founding head of school with a really innovative school up in Rockland. And it's a STEAM focused world language IB project-based learning school. So IB is International Baccalaureate, paired with the world languages that we taught there. So at the end of the program, the goal is for it's a TK through 8th grade program. So at the end of the program, if kids go all the way through, the ideal is that they become global citizens. So in this particular program, kids were involved in 2 world languages, Mandarin and Spanish. Culture was a huge part of what we undertook there. They had an amazing maker space where they got to create and develop their own projects. So it was very little paperwork and primarily hands-on project creations with real world learning, lots of guest speakers, lots of field trips. So it was the most innovative project I've ever been involved in. And I loved it. I loved bringing the kids to this environment where they got to actually do their learning. They weren't just told how to learn, they actually got to participate and do their learning. Ask good questions, ask essential questions, and answer those questions through exploration. So it's a really neat opportunity.
Love it. And very central to who we are, wanting our kids to own their own learning. And one of the cool things I want to just kind of dive into a little bit there is, academic rigor is a really important part of who we are at VCS. It's not every part of who we are. We care about developing our students holistically. Obviously, we're a school of faith. We want our students to know and love Jesus and be prepared to go out wherever God has called them to serve him in whatever that looks like, whatever that calling is in their life. And we care even more about academic rigor because we want them to be well prepared for whatever God has for them. And for people who don't know, an IB program is very academically rigorous. And lots of critical thinking. And so how would you say that experience maybe shapes some of your ideas about educational excellence
Yeah.
and what excellence academically looks like that you kind of bring to VCS.
Yeah, I would say that for me, I love academia in general. Like I love learning and growing. I'm in a program
Makes two
right.
of us. I love that.
I'm in a program right now where my focus is on curriculum and instruction, and a lot of that was because of what I was learning in the IB program. I mean, I've always loved curriculum. I've always loved differentiated instruction and teaching teachers how to have good educational practices. I've always loved that. But in an IB education, it's not optional.
Yeah.
The IB is extremely rigorous. It takes almost 3 years to get authorized. So it's not like you can just say, I'm going to be in IB
Oh my
education.
goodness.
You have to prove it. You have to prove it
Wow.
through a lot of vertical alignment, which is like taking one grade and making sure they match up year by year by year in all the
Yeah.
content that you're covering. So I had a lot of experience with making sure those grades flowed very smoothly through the 6 units that we had to create.
Wow.
And it just really made me look again and say, wow, this is amazing. And I love curriculum, and not just IB curriculum, I love all curriculum.
Yeah.
I really love the idea that we can take what we're doing and make it better. You know, and I look at it like the teachers are the biggest part of the curriculum.
Absolutely.
You know, their curriculum is everything you do from the time your doors open till the time your doors close. That's your curriculum. And so when the teachers are in that classroom, ensuring they have excellent instructional practices is really important to me. It's really important in an IB education because the teacher is developing every single activity the student does in a very coordinated way through units. So they don't have, you know, textbooks they're drawing from. They have to actually create and develop all of their curriculum.
Wow, it's really rigorous for teachers.
It's rigorous for teachers and it's rigorous for the students.
Wow.
It really is a really ideal education for students.
I love that. How would you say, Michelle, your background with IB kind of shapes some of your perspective on what academic rigor looks like that you bring to VCS as the principal of the middle and high school program?
I would say the IB shapes that, but also my understanding of curriculum in general, because I spent, you know, 2 decades really trying to understand that. But, you know, my belief is that students have a moral obligation to learn. You know, it is their, when they're sitting in a classroom, I'll tell students all the time, especially if they're struggling, I'll say, you're not just Isaac, you're Isaac the student when you come in here. And there's a certain expectation we have on students. There's a certain expectation you have to take ownership of your learning. So I would say one of the biggest things that I bring to any environment I go into that's really important to me is that I always ask the question, no matter what we're creating, if it's a program we're creating or we're looking at a new curriculum or decisions we're making, I'll say, is it best for the students?
Yeah.
Does that empower them to be learners, you know, and to be able to operate with those 21st century skills, to be global learners? And so the IB education presses that out in a very unique way. So I bring all of that to the table, but I also brought that to that program. Like who I am and what I care about, IB matched what I already felt was really important. And I just got to exercise it at a really high level in this program. So I feel like I bring that same expectation to our campus. Even
wonderful.
as we're preparing and planning for our students, my desire for our students here is that they are thinkers and they are doers of their own education, and that they learn to take ownership for their learning. No matter what teacher they have, what classroom they're in, what activity they're given, their responsibility is to own their learning and to grow through that.
I love that. So first, that's amazing. Second of all, I'm going to have you come to my house and give that speech to my kids.
I'll give it to all the kids in middle and high school, so they'll get it then.
That's wonderful, Michelle. So really quickly, and then we're going to step beyond academics. So many families, I think, are aware of the importance of all those pieces that you mentioned. But let's speak, maybe you can share with me, for families that maybe don't understand the dynamics of critical thinking, curriculum, and instruction, and maybe just are curious, well, how does that affect my child? What does that mean practically? What are maybe a couple things that you could share that why that matters in simple terms that families can appreciate?
Well, I think what matters is because students at some point, whether it's, they're going to have teachers that hold their hands and walk them through step by step. Particularly our sixth graders will get more of that, as they're coming in to their education there. But as they grow, and particularly beyond their secondary education, they have to learn to think for themselves.
Yeah.
Because there's moral decisions they have to make, and they have to make it based on something. So when we're talking to teachers and we're saying, how did you make your decisions? And they say, oh, I'm doing fine. I'll say, what's that based on?
Yeah.
That's based on, the annual planner scope and sequence you already put in place that you thought was really good.
Right.
Right. And so if students have, been trained to think for themselves, to make decisions, to ask good questions. So we talk about essential questions. We should be giving those questions all the time, but not giving the answer.
Yes.
We should be asking them to grapple with the answers to those essential questions. And so good teaching and instructional practices, and even if you're at home with your own kids, asking critical questions, but withholding just a minute for all the answers. So they have to actually think.
Yeah.
And make decisions, I think, is really important for any subject matter they do. They have to be able to think. They have to be able to make decisions about how they're going to come up with that answer. And they shouldn't be, in this generation of AI, where AI can potentially make everyone very similar.
Sure.
It can also express creativity. I'm a proponent of AI, but it can also make people very standardized.
Sure.
How they're going to stand out beyond high school.
That's right.
Is they have to be able to think.
That's
and,
right.
and create something different, have their own innovation within themselves, rather than just to rely on someone else to give that to them. Those make the best employees, and I hire employees every single day.
That's
and
right.
there is a difference in the employee that has good questions, even for me,
Huge.
when I'm interviewing.
I think that's intuitive. I think our families appreciate and understand that.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic point. And I love that you brought that up, because I actually want to build on that. So when to me, it's like really sad. The majority of students who graduate high school from the United States, and this is especially true in the state of California, when they go to college, the first thing they have to do is they have to take remediation courses. They go right to school and they can't write. They have to take remediation courses in math, in writing, in reading, and what is going to set VCS students apart with the vision you're talking about. And what I'm excited about is it's already happening, but you're going to build on it, and I think take it to a new level, is that students who go to the secondary level, and then when they leave college and they go out into the workforce, when they have that ability to think critically, like you mentioned, that is 100% going to distinguish them from others, their peers, and that's crucially important. That's what parents want for their children, is that they're prepared to be successful. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about.
And I think I was having a conversation with one of our English teachers last week, and she was discussing that very point, which is our students need to know how to write. They need to know how to think. They need to know how to get their ideas out in writing, so they can, it sparks their thinking, their creativity, their innate ability, which is already in them. God's already given it to them. It's not like we're just here to fill them up, right? Just fill them up with a bunch of information. We're here to draw out the uniqueness that God already put inside of them. But if we're not giving them opportunities to do that, how are they ever going to develop that? That's what we're here to do for them here at VCS.
Well said. I love it. So we're going to move out of academics, and before we close, what are some things that you can share, Michelle, about your vision for our middle and high school program beyond academics? Maybe that's spiritual life. Maybe that is student life and culture. Maybe just share some thoughts.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I would say about myself is my experience is very diversified and it's vast. So I've, looked at preschool students all the way to high school students. And one of the unique opportunities we have with middle and high school students is we get to actually have influence on them.
Well said.
Where in the elementary grades, you're teaching, you're training, but it really is a lot about influence and relationship. The older they get, you have to rely a lot on that they trust you, that they trust what you're saying is for their good and matters to them. So one of the key things I want and hope to press that, we have a great foundation for that already, by the way. One of the things I'm finding as I'm here is there is a solid framework for this to happen, right?
That's encouraging to hear.
It's not like I have to come in and create a whole foundation. It's already there. So how do we build off of this and encourage our teachers, ourselves, and our families in partnership to build relationships with students where they go, I trust what you're saying. Oh, I want to risk, because a lot of education is about risking.
Yes.
If you're doing it right. You know, you're risking,
Yes.
you're trying something, and you might fail. And failure is actually acceptable, right?
Yes.
That's an acceptable way we would look at ourselves and our students. And then how do you coach students through that failure to find their successes? So we provide a lot of opportunities here so they can say, oh, it's not sports. Maybe it's speech and debate. Maybe it's our drama program. Maybe it's art. I mean, our art teacher's phenomenal at this school. So
Yes.
kids can really find their passion there, but it's really providing, you said it at the beginning, providing many opportunities, or at least you've said to me, I don't know if you said it here, but for our students to express themselves in many, many different ways.
Yeah.
It's not just academics, it's the whole child, it's the whole picture.
That's right.
And that's who we are and who will continue to be.
Yeah,
as we move on.
I love that. And you know, another thing that families will learn about you in time. So at the time of this recording, we've not yet launched into the school year, but it is right around the corner. And I think as families get to know you too, our families care deeply about all of what we've discussed and about very practical things too.
Yeah.
Good, clear, timely communication.
Yes.
Building relationships with our students, creating an environment
Right.
where our students feel safe. You know, you can't have critical thinking and risk if students don't feel safe.
If they don't feel safe.
And one of the things I've really come to learn about you is that you are a person of excellence and expect excellence in all of those areas. You're a clear, timely communicator. You really desire and want to build relationships with our parents and students as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited as our families get to know you. I think they'll have some of the same confidence that I have.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to do that. I've met a few families as they're bringing in supplies for a project we're doing or different things like that. But I feel like the place where I've grown the most in my leadership over many years is you have to depend upon, you know, we partner with our families, right?
that's right.
They're the first educators. They choose us to partner with them, not the other way around. And so I look at us as same team. Like I used to say to my son when he's playing basketball, when he's little and he's grabbing the ball from the same team member, same team.
Yep.
We're on the same team. We want the same thing. We want the best for students. So if we are in partnership, even if we disagree, we can still be in partnership, right? We can still come to places where we can walk in agreement so their child can get the very best from our entire system. So I think relationship is critical. And it's something I value. And parents will know that as they get to know me, and communication is really important to me because I want a lot. So if I want a lot, I have to make sure everybody knows, you know, what we're after and what we're looking for. So
I love it. And as the school year starts to come on and some of those aspects of your vision start to become a reality, I'm looking forward to more conversations where we can talk and share with our families about some of the neat things we're seeing in our program. So thanks for joining me today, Michelle.
Thanks for having me here, and I'm really excited to be working alongside of you as well, Ben.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to VCS,
Okay.
and thanks again for being here.
All right.